Mastering the Synology DS1520 Plus Setup Guide Step-by-Step Instructions.
Okay, peeps, it is what it is. So today we're going to be talking about network file storage, a NAS. This is a Synology DS1520 Plus. Now, I've had this for a while, probably right before COVID. If you've ever used one or had one before, or if you're new to the storage, it's not exactly cheap. I happened to get this model on sale, and it happened to be $600 a steal. You can't get it for $600 now. It comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bays. I thought it was 6. Yeah, it's 5 bays with hard drives in them. All Western Digital. I need to clean the inside of this out. All Western Digital red drives. Now, the pluses and minuses of having this network storage. You can have all your data in one place. These drives are rated. So if one individual drive fails, my data's not lost. I can put another drive in, let it rebuild. Boom, I'm back in business. But Synology is a little bit more different. Not only can you just use it for file storage, you can also use it to run a Plex server, to run virtual machines, to back up individual PCs. You can store your files, photos, and access them remotely. That's a little bit tricky, but we won't go into details of that. What we will do is the basic functionality of this machine. And the second part of this is we're going to show upgrade. I've had this for a while, like I said, and I'm pretty much out of storage. I have 8 terabytes of 4 8-terabyte drives and 1 10-terabyte drive. Yes, you can mix flavors in NASs. It's not a good idea because this last drive, which is 10, that's 2 terabytes I'll never be able to use. Because it would only use the first 8 terabytes and the other terabytes go to waste. So when you do operate a NAS, you want to use the same size drives. Secondly, I'm going to plug this back up because I'm moving it from one location of the house to a different location. It's much cooler in the basement, even though it doesn't have any heating issues. I'm going to have to stack it on a expansion bay that I bought because I can't put any more drives in. I need some more storage. So this particular model, if you look at the back of it, right, you got dual fans, you got 4 1 gig ports, and yes, you connect all 4 if you like. You got the power, and these 2 connectors here, these are eSATs. This is what you plug in your external expansion. This particular model can take up to 2 expansion bays, which means a total of 15 drives altogether. Now, if you get to that point, you need that much storage, it might be time to upgrade to a better NAS. Okay, but this one works really well. The newer models I'm not so hot about because I've heard that Synology has come out with their own drives, and the newer models past this one requires you to buy those overly expensive drives. To give you an example, the new drives for Synology, a 20 terabyte drive will run you over $700. A red drive, you can get, it depends if you catch it on sale or not, for about $450, which is almost half the, the rest drives are still about 40% cheaper, but if you have to pair your drives, that's $1,400 just to get 20 terabytes worth of storage. That's a lot of money. And if you want to go smaller, it'll save you some money, but even $600 for a drive that's even 10 terabytes, that's ludicrous. And I understand why they do it. They claim they're doing it. They're doing it because currently they can't update the BIOSes or the firmware on the drives. So they had another drive created so you can go into your NAS and check and see if there's firmware updates, and then update the firmware on the device itself. But I'm having to pull it out, risk data loss, connect it to another unit. have it checked to see if it needs firmware done, update the firmware, stick it back in, cross your fingers. So I understand the logic. The price has to come down. It's way too expensive. And like the 1522, it's over $2,000. And I think it's a 5 or 6 bay. 22 between it's like 22 to 2500 for the next model up, which is 1522 Plus. That's crazy. But that one does have a module, so you can get a 10 gigabyte which one. Now the most you can get out of here, if you use all 4 of these ports, is 4 gigs. One port is 1 gig. Now you could easily take this. You don't need any special switches. Take this, get you a regular old dumb switch, plug all 4 cables in, and then plug that into a device that has a 10 gig port and can deliver that, and boom, you're done. You can go ahead and take advantage of that. You wouldn't notice a difference, and you can monitor that on the interface. When I go log into it, I'll show you where you can go check it out, what the load is. Unfortunately, I wanted to upgrade the RAM. It's only 8 gigs. Unfortunately, I found out the 8 is max. But I've been hearing rumors that people have been putting bigger, larger RAMs in it, so they're getting more RAM for these devices. Because even at 8 gigs, it's pretty much using all 8 gigs. And so you don't have a lot of room for error. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this wired back up and put it back on the network. And then I'm going to go upstairs and plug it up, and we're going to connect to it remotely. And you can connect to it for making up personal accounts for people that'll be able to log in. You can have an account for each person in the family. You can set up shared drives. You can set up drives that they can't have access to. That's permission based. And again, like I said, if you have DVDs, and don't quote me on this. Last time I read copyright law is that if you have a CD, you can rip that CD for a personal copy for yourself. You cannot use it to sell to other people. That's copyright infringement. But you can take your own personal CD and either download it from whoever you bought it from, or rip it and then put it on your NAS. As long as you're not selling those videos for services or offering some type of streaming service, or you get it having people the ability to buy it, you're pretty much okay. Now Plex do offer other services. It's basically a free service that you can also buy, and it's like $5 a month. And what that does, that allows you to access your NAS from outside the house, like especially your Plex. And they also offer free movies and stuff that you can use. I'm not just giving you a ballpark of other things you can do with this wonderful NAS. And so far, it's a little dusty. I do not, and I know you said, oh, go get you some canned air. Canned air is the worst thing that you can use on electronics. That CO2 is bone-chilling cold. Don't believe me? Take a can of it, spray it on your skin. It's very cold, and that extreme cold can literally damage components. And you don't want to do it with anything that has a fan, because what you would do if you take that fan and you blow it and that fan is running, it's that, you know what happens, how generators work, right? You have a motor that's turned. It will start feeding electricity back into that board. You can literally fry your board or damage your board by doing stuff like this. So I don't ever recommend people use canned air. Ever. If you want to clean it, use your breath. It's warm, not too hot, but don't use canned air at all. So let me go ahead and get this plugged up, and I'll be back with you. Hello, peeps. So we're at this NAS. Whatever your NAS may change from time to time. This IP address may not refer to you. So what we're going to do now is do a simple login. And what we're going to do from here, it does offer two-factor authentication. I don't really add that because my Synology is not forward facing. That means no one can get to it outside of Plex from the internet. So, and that's because it's yeah. But anyway. So here's some. This is the package management system. These are all the packages that you have installed and or can install, including WordPress, Python, uh, Hype Share, Backup, Audio Station, Virus Scanner. By the way, I believe that is free. DHCP, DNS server, central management. So there's a plethora of options that you now. And if you're looking for a particular one, you could just type the name and then hit enter. And for example, that's Plex. Now, there we go here. You have other options like resources. It's currently saying what the CPU is running at, memory, and your network volume. And when it says volume, it doesn't mean like noise. It's talking about disk volumes. Connections, who may be connected to it, performance alarms, all that good stuff. This is highlighted because it's basically telling me it's time to do a virus scan, and I haven't gotten them out. You can even set up your own personal VPN server if you care. These are photos. I don't really use much of that. Containers, if you know anything about cloud services. Virtual machine, this is where I told you you can actually run your own virtual machine. Unfortunately, here's the big problem that I have going on here. My biggest problem is, let's go to storage. See that? 2.6 free out of, so basically this has like 27 terabytes of storage. So you got four 8 gigs and one 10 gig drive. It go here, it tells me what individual drives are. The disk space 1.73, basically 8 terabyte drive. Also tells me the temperature, status of the drives are healthy, and that's the oddball right there. You can also add in other things such as caching. Now this here, because of the this crazy I'm having a bad day pronouncing stuff. Hybrid drive. Periodically, you want to run it. I schedule it to run once a month, usually sometime at night where I'm not using it. And basically, it goes to scrubs to make sure all the data is where it's supposed to be, ain't doing nothing funky. You can create a hot swap, which means you'll have a disk that's not being used for anything, and if a drive fails, it'll automatically start using that drive to rebuild. Come in handy if you have been having a whole lot of drive problems. As these NAS get old, the drives will eventually start to wear out, even though these are enterprise drives. And just to let you know, little Celeron, 4 cores, 4 threads, 8 total. That's the RAM, reserve memory, but you can run a virtual machine. I have one. I just don't have it running because there's not enough storage. Let me go back to, where did I find connections? Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Where is? That is not it. Probably under control panel. Might be on the network. Yes, here we go, on the network. There's 4 LANs currently. Right now, LAN 4 is the only one that's connected. These 2 are not plugged in at all. I was just plugged in one. I'm going to go down there and get the switch and plug them all in. So right now, it's only using one of the 4 LANs. And like I said before, it is 1 gigabyte per port. I don't know why they did that. Know anything about domain control? You have the domain, your LDAPs, you have your users, files, shared folders that you want to have, or whatever they may be. You can make folders for your kids, external drives that you may have, even printers. This here, it will periodically go ping Synology and to see if there's any updates needed. Make sure these are done on a regular. Again, it is very important, especially if you have your NAS forward spacing, which means people can see it from out, is to secure it, lock it down as much as possible. You do not want people to get into your LAN, to your Synology NAS, and then fill it up with malware and you lose everything. And so that is that for this part of it. Like I said, there is a lot of indexing services. There are a plethora of things that you can do with this thing. It is absolute. You can even set up your own mail server if you really want to. I think you can actually pull it from another service, like Google, things of that nature. But it is. And if you ever wonder, now the way I have mine set up, which I'm wondering if it was a bad idea, but as I set up one, I go in and and add a recycle bin to it. So I'll give you a primary example of what it actually looks like. So if I go here and I go to, I don't know, backups. You see that right there? That's a recycle bin. So any folder that I delete will automatically go here. I have to physically go in and delete it from there. Otherwise, it still occupies space. What's the benefit of doing this? Is that if you make a boo-boo and you delete something that you don't want to, you can always go back to your recyclable bin and undelete it. And we know how as humans, we like the fat finger stuff, and I don't like the fat finger and loot data that I've had for years, and it just goes up in smoke. So these are drives and stuff I've recovered, all kind of good stuff. But anyway, that's the good stuff. So what do I think of the Synology DS1520 Plus? When I bought it, I got it for an outstanding price, which is about $600 some. The price has increased dramatically since then. It has 5 drives. You can mix and match, as I showed you. But I do not recommend mixing and matching because the problem with this drive, 2 terabytes of it will never ever be used. So it's pretty much 2 terabytes wasted. And the next drives, if any of these ever shall fail, I will not replace them with 8 terabyte drives. I'll move up to a minimum of 14, probably 20 terabytes, because I think 20 terabytes is the top end for this SNAS. So if you have, you can put up to 20 terabytes in it, boom, you're good. As for that, let's see, do I have any questions that I can think of that you could do? And oh yeah, if you're a web developer, and you do WordPress, you can test all this stuff out on your own personal NAS before putting it out public. I've not even used half of the functions on it, because most of the time, I put data up, if I need to redo a PC, I'll back it up onto the NAS, and then redo it. Sometimes it's just easy to, especially Windows machines, since they're so, sometimes it's just easy just to wipe them and redo them. My Linux machines, I almost never have to do that too, but for some reason, the uninstalling process and the junk that Windows tend to get in, there's no self-cleaning to help clean that. And I'm not talking about temp files, just junk left over for uninstalls, and just, it's a hot mess. Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of problem with Linux. When it uninstalls, it takes out everything. It pretty much works really well, and I almost never run out of driver nodes. And to let you know, the Synology drive, I believe, is a type of Linux. It's not one in Windows at all. So, and the one good thing about Linux is that it can read both petitions. It can read Linux petitions. Of course, it would normally do that, but it can also read Windows petitions. And so, when you talk to this, if I have a Windows machine, I talk to this NAS. There's a service called SMB, and what it does, it takes Linux language, translated so Windows can understand it. And this, actually, speaking of the devil, is right here. You see, it's running. This basically takes, when a Windows machine talks to it, it's the man in the middle who's communicating. So imagine you have a person speaking French, one speaking English, neither one understand what they're saying. And so what this service actually does, it gets in between the middle, and it acts as a translator so that Windows can understand what Linux is saying, even though Windows already know what Windows is saying. So think of Linux as multi-language, and Windows is a single language. He only understands English. He's no good for French or any other language. But Linux, you could talk to him in any language and he understands. Many of the reasons why I love Linux. So that is it for part one of this demo. The next part is to be, like I said, I'm running out of drive space, so I'm going to attach a external, what is it called? External expansion box, which we can do 2 on this particular model. Oh, I almost forgot. These devices do come with a 3-year warranty. You can't upgrade and get extended with it. Unfortunately, I goofed off too long and didn't do it. But there's a support system. When you get this box, you will have no problem getting support with Synology, and they'll help fix whatever issues they may have. Believe it or not, they can get into your machine without you knowing. I've talked to them, and they're like, oh, because basically you'll set your machine up on which comes, so they'll be able to find you and then go in and say, oh, okay, this is the problem. It's very helpful. I just hope they ain't snooping when they don't supposed to be snooping. But like I said, I've seen a lot of NAS. This is almost like the Swift Army knife of NAS. It has a lot of stuff that you can use and put in and play around with. And unlike some other ones, they just don't have the functionality. And I got this after looking up, doing a lot of research, and every time I turn around, Synology came up. Like I said, I don't like the newer models because they're making you buy these newer drives, which are overly expensive. I think that's a bad move in Synology. I think it's a horrible move until they lower the prices. Because a 750, a 20 terabyte, this is 2024, a 20 terabyte drive shouldn't run you over $700. Let's be for real. It shouldn't run you that much money. But anyway, folks, this is the end of this part. And like I said, I'll be back when I'm ready to unpack the external box, the expansion box, and connect it and see if we can get all this stuff running. Until next time, folks, you take care of yourself. Well, you know something? There was something else I just remembered. Sometimes when you get a new NAS, you may not be able to find it. And let me show you how you can do it. If you go here to Synology download support, tell it it's a NAS, put the model number in, and these are applications that you can literally download. You know, client drive. This here is what you want. There is no way to find out what IP address that it snags easily. So this app will allow you to search. And what it does, it pings the network until it finds your server. And there she goes. She is right there. See? It tells the update version, MAC address, all that good stuff. I'm going to wash out a lot of the stuff, so you don't need to know what my serial number and stuff is. But you can do an easy map the drive, and you can map the drives and give them their own drive number on individual machines. So based on what need to be done, you can do it. And you can download all these apps. They support Windows and Mac, Ubuntu. It does support Ubuntu. But if you do not have Ubuntu, I gotta find a program that I came across years ago that will allow you to take an Ubuntu installer and convert it to another, like Rim base, and it works like charm because I couldn't get that app on my Fedora, and I was able to take that program and it was able to convert it over to Rim, and then I clicked, installed it perfectly, got it. So I'm going to see if I can find that program. I don't remember where I got it from. Where I snatched it from. But until next time, folks, I'm out of here.